I want to take a couple minutes to talk about like the state of the industry so far. Definitely saw some consolidation this week, not pullback, but just things are getting to be like a price. For example, our two top sales were both One Piece Volume 1 first printing, BGS 9.0. They both went for 9 grand. You know what's interesting about that is like I pulled up the census data for One Piece, right? So, but you can see like here, One Piece Volume 1, 1997, 780 have been slabbed right now. There's probably not that many in existence. It's still hard to find out how many were printed in total, like best guesstimates, maybe 300 grand. So I brought up Absolute Batman as well. Now, Absolute Batman, number one, first printing, had about 250,000 copies. But it's just, you know what's frightening to think? There's probably more copies of Absolute Batman number one in existence than One Piece Volume 1 first printing. Now, One Piece all printings, it's the most published of all time. But I mean, you've got like 50th freaking printings of certain volumes in there, right? So it's crazy. But yeah, let's bring up the Absolute Batman census. And this is from CGC, which is going to be by far the major Absolute Batman number one. So you can see there's about 8,100 as of right now, June 6th. Compare that to the One Piece again, and you can see it's like 780. So there's 10 times as many slabs of Absolute Batman number one versus One Piece Volume 1 first printing. Which kind of makes sense because when you look at it, it's like the CGC was around 2000 they came in. So they've had about 25 good years to kind of develop that hobby. And it wasn't, slabs weren't always as big as they are now for that collectible hobby space. Like, trust me, there was a lot of resistance when comics came in. So what am I trying to say here? Basically, CGC has been around 26 years. The slabbed, graded comic collecting hobby has had a long time to establish. Manga grading has been around for about 2 years. It's still basically in its infancy. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I can tell you manga outsells American comics terrifically. There's not even in Japan, there's more manga sold, far more manga sold within Japan itself than there are floppy comics in US and Canada. That's just the way it is. And actually, I'm not putting comics down because they just had a really good year in 2025 with the Absolute Batman and whatnot. So just thought I'd get some thoughts in there before we jump into the actual top 10 and whatnot. So with that out of the way, let's have a look at the Japanese top 10 BGS manga. And as I said before, May 31st, One Piece Volume 1, 9.0 sold for $91.55. June 2nd, basically the same thing, sold for 9 grand. So that's actually quite close. We're starting to develop like a fair market value there. June 1st, Demon Slayer Volume 1, 9.6 with Obi, 7,000. That's down a bit actually. Another One Piece, this time an 8.5, 52.55. This one was interesting to me. June 1st, this is a Hajime no Ippo, or, the first step. This is a long-running boxing manga, very popular in Japan. A BGS 9.2 sold for 3,700. I thought maybe that was like the highest grade on the census. It's not. There actually exist 5 BGS 9.6 Hajime no Ippo on the census, which just shocked me. But anyway, back to the list. We've got One Piece 7.5 Volume 1 went for $28.50. Attack on Titan 9.6 with the Obi $27.60. Another One Piece, 7.5, 2600. A Dragon Ball. This time it's only a BGS 6, 2450. And finally, to round out the top 10, one that I guess I won't be buying anytime soon, Witch Hat Atelier, BGS 9.8 with Obi, $2,400. Just because we get a lot of the same manga again and again, I decided, hey, let's do the top 20 this time so you can actually see 11 to 20 as well. Maybe get a little bit of differences in there, but honestly, there's still a lot of One Piece. So here it is, number 11. June 1st, Berserk and a BGS 6.5, 2300. We had Attack on Titan, number 1, 9.4, 2300. Another One Piece, this time a BGS 7, went for 2025. Kagurabachi, Volume 1, 9.8 with the Obi, 1986. That is down. Again, another Demon Slayer, BGS 8.5 with the Obi, 14.99. That one's actually up from last time. Jujutsu Kaisen, huge jump actually for a 9.4 with Obi, 1388. Another Demon Slayer, and this time a BGS 9, no Obi. This one went for 1375. And finally, we have a bunch of One Piece 104s, each one of them in a BGS 9.8 with Obi. All went for between like 1350 to 1300. So that's like your top 20 Japanese. Here's another one that I thought was really interesting. This is Neon Genesis Evangelion BGS 7. It went for $395, and that is low. But one of the reasons I believe it was so low was because it's marked altered. And again, it had all three sides of its pages sanded. So it's interesting to see what, how many books are out there that might be sanded and whatnot. Finally, I'll wrap out the Japanese manga with one that, again, I guess I won't be buying anytime soon. This is a BGS 8.0 Ronin Kenshin number 1, first print. This one actually, it was listed for 1,000, but the seller actually accepted 650. So finally, we'll get to the English manga, and English manga is much more a case of supply and demand. Basically, the expensive ones are out of print volumes that people need to complete their collection, and they are hard to find. So I'll show you what I mean here. Let's start with the most expensive light novel. It is Ai no Kasubi Volume 8. This one went for $520. Here's another repeat offender. This is Basra Volume 19, $800. Next up, we have Blackjack Volume 15. This one it would be about $429 US. These ones always go for more money because they are hard to find. Here's a very small little series. This is Dot Hack GU Volumes 1 to 4, $930 Canadian, which is about $667 US. Another Grimgar, this time it had best offer accepted. This is the light novel for Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, volume 14.5, went for $230. This one always interests me because I'm a big Tomy fan. Museum of Terror, volume 1 and 2, they both sold for $160. What's particularly interesting to me is that I need volume 2. Now, Museum of Terror, there's a number of volumes, but Tomy is basically volume 1 and 2, and I have volume 1. Here we have a One Piece volume 1 first print gold foil. This one went for $495, and that is not in great shape either. Speaking of supply and demand, Please Save My Earth volume 7, $300. And if you think that's bad, Please Save My Earth volume 13, $400. This one always goes for a good chunk of change. This is the last volume in the series. This is Rave Master volumes 33, 34, 35. This is an omnibus, $400. If you watch my last video, you might see that I picked up the Japanese first printing with Obi of what's in this picture right here. This is a Triage X, the complete run in English, volumes 1 through 29, $1,200. And that's not bad considering it contains volumes 4, 5, 7, and 14. Warms my heart. More Umineko, When They Cry, Episode 6, Volume 1, Dawn of the Golden Witch, $450. And hey, if you get Volume 1, you might as well get Volume 2 with it as well, right? Umineko, When They Cry, Episode 6, Volume 2, $350. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Volume 1, number 1290 of 5000, the holographic foil, and a BGS 5.0. They were asking $5,000 for it, but they accepted $2,000, which is still pretty darn good. So there's the English manga sales for you right there. Not too many BGS Volume 1 first printing shonen titles this time around, although we did have one of the Viz 1 in 5000s, the Yu-Gi-Oh! BGS 5.0, which is interesting. As far as the whole market goes, it's interesting. I will tell you that I just speculated hard for me anyway. Spent about $100 on a still in plastic with the Obi Volume 1 first print of a certain title that doesn't even have an anime yet, but it just came out not too long ago, and fingers crossed, I think it's going to get one. So I'm trying to jump the market here a little bit. We'll see how that goes, and I'll do the opening when it comes. If you want to take a guess, be my guest, and if you get it, hey, I'll tell you. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see what another week brings and all these manga prices. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.